Alright, feels like I haven't done this in a while. Actually, I did it last week, but I'm back in my room now. Well, I guess I'll start by saying, feels good to be back. Feels good to be back. I have notes. Not many, not much. I'm sweating, it's hot in here. Haven't done anything today. I've been very useless. So it goes. First note, reciting poems for grandma. So last week, my grandma and my aunt came over from Paris to visit, and I mentioned a few podcasts ago that there was no use in learning poems. Got hair in my fucking hairband. There was no use in learning poems in a real life context, so to speak. When are you going to recite a poem? What's the point? And my grandma recited a poem at some point. We were all together talking. Don't remember why exactly she did it, but she recited. We were talking about how we don't. It's funny actually. We were talking about, my mother was talking about how she doesn't remember poems she learned at school. You know, that's an argument that people make a lot. This idea that what's the point of school if you forget 99% of the things you learned there? And so my mother doesn't remember any poems, but my grandma, who's 85, 84, recited a poem she learned at school when she was 10 in the 50s, right? And so she remembered it. She remembers it. She has a good memory, but she remembers a poem she learned 100 years ago. And my mom and me, I can't remember poems I learned at school, barely a decade ago, which was interesting. But then my brother put me on the spot and said, hey, Abraham's learning poems. He can recite a poem for you. So I did. And that was good. That was nice. It's like you practice this useless skill. I think many people have practiced this useless skill, any. And then you find yourself in one situation where it's quote unquote useful. But more to the point, I did mention about how I enjoy learning and reciting poems, how they're enjoyable, and it was enjoyable to recite it. It's interesting how, time stops and everyone is just listening, and the poem is being recited, and I'm channeling something. Someone wrote this a long time ago. These ideas, this way of seeing the world, this beautiful way of seeing the world, and I am channeling that, or I'm reciting that so that people today hear it, and they would never have heard it perhaps if it wasn't for me having learned it. So it was a nice thing to share. Reciting a poem for your grandma is it's nice. So I was wrong. I never thought I would ever recite the poems I learned, and I did. And it was good to spend time with her. Yeah. And now she's gone back to Paris, back to the madness. Wow, the second note is getting my room back, which I already mentioned, because there's not much else to say. In the week where they were here, I completely fell off my routine, and it has nothing to do with them, it has everything to do with me being undisciplined. But nonetheless, I fell off my routine. I'm still not back on it. I don't feel very good for a multitude of reasons. Not being in the routine, which makes me feel good, and also deliberately, making a choice not to be on the routine. So the sense of guilt, feeling bad because I'm not doing the right things, and feeling bad because I'm choosing not to do the right things. So here I am. From tomorrow on, I need to get back on it. And I had a discussion with my mother recently where selfishness was mentioned, this idea of being selfish. And I've always been, in my family, I've always been considered the selfish one. And I've been selfish. That being said, it seems, that being said, it seems like the way forward to me, the way forward towards success, is very much being selfish. I've always been on the fence about it. I've never committed fully to my philosophy of life, the way I believe I should live my life, because it was in part selfish. And I'm realizing now that I have to be, the word is uncompromising. I think my manager at work asked me why I was so adamant. He used that word specifically, which I congratulated him for, because I think is a perfect word. Why was I so adamant? I don't want to work nights. Meaning, I don't want to work the shift that's dinner is from 5:30 to midnight. Apparently recently they've changed it so that it finishes earlier. But when I was working, and the thing is, it's uncertain what time you'll finish at. It depends on the guests. Sometimes we finish after midnight. But so he asked me why I'm so adamant about not working nights. And at work, I've been quite good at being, that's a place where I've tried to learn to say no and to be uncompromising and selfish. And so I don't work nights, and I haven't for a while. I'm actually working nights, 2 nights at the end of the week, because we're not open for lunch, and I do need some money. I can't just skip 2 days of work. And maybe it's to my detriment that I rely on this job for survival at the moment. But that being said, I've been adamant and uncompromising in my decision. I do not work nights. It is not an option. And that's something I need to apply to other parts of my life. But to go back to the start of this thought, I need to be selfish. As soon as I stop doing one of my kind of foundational, let's say, habits, the ones that are the center, that hold everything together, as soon as I drop one, everything falls off. It's complete madness. And I think on one level, I know myself well now. As in, I know that when this thing is removed, I'll fill it up with something. And usually it's something negative. Like, I consider that me buying these little shits here, these vapes, is my way of replacing, so to speak, the punching bag. I didn't have access to it for a week. And I felt the need, instead of releasing my frustration and this energy on the punching bag, I needed something to release it. And I used these. But so these habits that I have, these foundational habits, they exist to keep me in check. To keep me in check. If they are removed, I replace them with something else. You can't see it, but there's a bunch of pizza boxes on the floor. And that's because for a week, I've been lazy about my diet the previous week. My diet is very specific. The way it works is I eat a lot of food at once. That way I'm not hungry outside of that time. I talked about it multiple times, but the past week I haven't. So I was hungry in the morning. I ate junk food. I've been too lazy to cook. I didn't buy the supplies, so to speak, the food, as I usually do on Saturday, my last day of work. I buy the food for the weekend so that I'll have everything ready. I just realized I have a milkshake that I had prepared a week ago and I haven't drank it, so it's probably gonna have to go in the bin. But because that fell out of that, I didn't do that. I became lazy and I ate pizza for the whole weekend. So these habits are crucial. They're life or death, really. They are. I cannot let anything get in the way. And I'm saying this because it's summer, the summer holiday soon, and every year I go back to France to see my family. And there'll be no punching bag in France. And many things won't be there. Now, I'm conflicted because I'm thinking that for many reasons, I think I shouldn't go. Now, the main reason I should, obviously, is to see my family. I haven't seen them since December or early January for the holidays. So I haven't seen them in a while, and it is important. It is very important to see them, you know. But that comes at a cost. So seeing them is the only reason I would go. That's the one of the pros. One of the cons. Well, the cons are I don't even believe that I need or deserve holidays. I don't think it makes sense to go on holidays. I don't think I need rest or anything like that. I'm grateful that I won't have to go to work, right? I won't have to. That's very good. But I don't think I need rest or holidays. I think that if I leave, I won't have access to some things that I need. My diet might suffer. My routine might suffer. It's strange. For example, we go to eat lunch at my grandpa's, and if I follow my diet, I won't eat lunch at my grandpa's. I'll say, we're all sitting around the table as we traditionally do, and I'll have to say, no, I'm not eating right now. And that's gonna rub people the wrong way, and it's gonna annoy me. It's a complicated situation, as weird as that sounds. There's that. If I'm at my dad's house, I feel so restricted. We sleep in the living room. We don't really have a space for ourselves. I like to go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. So these seem like trivial things. But once these are either difficult to tick off the checklist, so to speak, once these are almost inaccessible or completely inaccessible, for example, having to sleep in the living room, having limited, space and intimacy and all these things make it difficult to stay in my routine. Once again, I could just say, well, I'll power through, I'll do what I have to do regardless of the situation. But why take the risk, and why put that stress on myself when I know it would be much simpler to just not go, stay here, stay focused, do what I have to do. So also it costs money to go. We plan on going multiple places in France to see other people from my family, and that will cost a lot of money. So the idea is I save all this money to go around for 3 weeks and be completely unproductive, most likely. So I think I won't go, and that's a difficult choice to make. But I think I won't go. Yeah. I don't know. Don't know if this is a place to even talk about this. Continuing on. A few podcasts ago I mentioned I wanted to make videos, photo walks, videos of me taking photos around. I went out that time when I mentioned it. Didn't come out good, so I scrapped it. But I think, so the same way I have these habits that are the foundation, so to speak, of my life that I need to follow, this here is one of them now. In the little ecosystem that is kind of my YouTube channel, I have to make this every week. It's crucial, it's life or death, it has to be made every week. It's important for many reasons. The simple fact of making it is an achievement in itself, so I need to keep making them. Now I need to build on that. The idea was those photo videos, which honestly do require and making them weekly is unrealistic. I don't know any people, YouTubers, who make those types of videos weekly. So it was unrealistic. But I need to build on top of that. So making this every week, now I wouldn't say it's effortless. Like today, I really didn't feel like it because I was inactive all day. I didn't do anything. I was very unproductive. And so going from being unproductive to making any effort is difficult. I did the dishes first. They've been there for 18 hours or something. So I was supposed to do them a while ago. That was the first step. right? It doesn't require much energy, no creative energy, just do the dishes. I did that step, and then I'm doing this. But this is quite easy now. I need to make these better too. That's another step. Or maybe that's a step that I need to take before even making other kinds of videos, to be honest. Yeah, I need to be on top of, objectively I've been consistent. I've been making these every week. So that's good. Can tick that off. Now I need to build on top of that. So I need to make these better. Have more notes, recite a poem every week. Oh, I forgot the poem I was learning. I was halfway through. I was almost done, I think. Shit. Where is it? I think it's one of those. Yeah, okay, I need to learn a poem every week. Alright. Yeah, actually I won't even think about making other videos consistently. I need to learn a poem every week. Not even every week, let's go every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks a new poem. One day I'll be very successful. One day I'll be very, very successful. And I'll be able to talk about how I got there. And people who are successful, they all talk about this. Just make the small steps. So I'm learning to make it easy as possible to achieve things, to get things done, to build on top of that. Right? A poem every 2 weeks, starting from next week. Well, that would be in 1 week, but I'm halfway through the poem. So next week there's a poem, a better structured podcast. All right. But then once I'm consistently doing this, reciting the poems every 2 weeks, I'd like to make another video weekly. Actually, well, I could make it bi-weekly, every 2 weeks as well. Make it easier. All right, we'll do that. So, every 2 weeks, I want to make a short film. I shot something 2 days ago, I think. So I'm obsessed with vertical video. I would like to try and shoot vertical video as much as possible, just to practice. Because I think it is something that people are not really paying attention to, but that has a lot of potential. Vertical videos, I have lots of ideas about where to take it. So a short film shot vertically every 2 weeks. And I shot a few things. I shot something yesterday. I don't have access, I don't have a budget, I don't have much time, I don't have access to crew, actors. I have enough equipment. But basically I have this apartment, this camera, some lenses, some equipment, and this some lights and this microphone. And it's something that I'm scared in a good way. Something that scares me in a good way is that I have to be in front of the camera. I have to quote unquote act. Right now I'm not reacting, right? There's a degree of acting because I am in front of a camera. But it's seamless. I don't feel like I'm acting. Right? That's what counts the most. I don't feel like I'm acting. But I would have to act if I make short films. So I shot something 2 days ago. So naturally there's 2 characters in the scene. I'm both of them. It was mostly to see how it would feel watching it once it's been assembled. How it would feel, me conversing with myself, and how to do it well. Oh my God. Too much hair, too much long hair everywhere. There's a really long hair somewhere back there that's bugging me. Yeah, well, whatever. So yeah, I did that, edited it. I was also curious about Adobe Podcast, this AI tool that supposedly cleans up your audio. You see these examples everywhere. It seems magical, period. The way it cleans up audio. Now, in my experience trying it, it's not that magical. But I suppose I was really lazy with the way I recorded the dialogue just to test it, the tool as much as possible. Now, how do I say this? Acting is something I've always been interested in, but only recently I've accepted that. Before, because it was such a hard thing to do for me, I just told myself, it's not for me. Like, for example, I love music, but I don't think I could be a musician. I don't think it's in me. I don't think I have the instincts, all these things. I don't think that's me. It's not a case of I feel uncomfortable with it or anything like that. That's not me. But acting, I do feel like it appeals to me. I feel like it's something I could do. And, well, being someone who wants to be a filmmaker, a director, understanding performance and acting and being able to differentiate good acting from bad acting, right, is crucial. It's very important, being able to tell when someone is good at acting. At uni, when we made short films, I had very limited practical experience of casting and seeing actors act. I have very limited experience doing that. And I remember we had this casting, I think 3 girls, maybe 2, and they both did their scene, and then we discussed as a group who was better. And I disagreed with everyone, and we settled on the one that I didn't want. And the script was shit. I didn't write the script. Someone was writing, I was supposed to be directing. Script was shit, but I think the actress wasn't very good in the final thing. I think the other one I liked better would have been better. Also, she was prettier. I thought she was better anyways. But that's difficult, being someone who wants to be a filmmaker, a director, not knowing whether I have that skill. And I can't say for sure that I have it, because it hasn't been tested. This ability to tell bad acting from good acting live, I think that's very important. So I'm not certain I have it. I have limited edition of trying, to see if I have it. But that being said, I do feel confident about it. So I don't feel that confident because I've never really done it in a, casting a film and seeing actors. Even in a tiny short films, I haven't really done it. But I have performers that I like in films, and I have my opinion on who I think is good and bad. And whenever I see a performance, I judge it, Is it good, is it bad? And all this to say that I think it's quite easy to tell when someone is either not made for it or they're not doing a good job. But some people, you just feel. And what I'm trying to say is literally extras in movies. People, I'm talking about in low budget types of films. As soon as a camera is on someone, I feel like you can see if they're supposed to be there. Do they blend in? Do they complete their task? Or does it feel like they're self-conscious? They're thinking about, oh, I'm on camera right now, and it seems unnatural. I don't remember who said that, but an actor there's 2 types of bad actors. People who are too self-conscious or not self-conscious enough. So you have to be able to not be like, I'm not self-conscious at all. Here I am. I don't care. I'm completely free. And at the same time, you can't be like, oh, they look at me, I'm uncomfortable. You have to be in the middle. That's what great actors do. And a lot of great actors are not that confident or that charismatic even off camera. Or they don't like it. They don't like the spotlight. But once they're in character acting, that's when they shine. Once again, all this to say that, so I'm judging myself now, which is interesting. I'm the director and the actor. So as actor, quote unquote, can you even consider what I did acting? I don't know. Yes, but it wasn't great or anything, but as an actor, I tried to do my best, and then I review the footage as a director, and I look at it and I think, is this good? Is this bad? And I feel like looking at myself, it sounds so weird to say all this, but I see potential as, cocky and misguided as that sounds. I look at myself and I don't think I look, like I don't think I give off that energy that I dislike when I see movies of, oh, I'm on camera, I'm not comfortable, I'm lost, or I don't belong there. I think looking at the footage, what's the word? Photogenic, you know. I'm somewhat photogenic. It's something you have to work on. But so this will be another exercise in the same vein as this, where it's not about putting out a short film that's good, as much as it's about the actual exercise of training these different kind of muscles, observing performance, performing. Obviously, I have to light, camera, all this stuff. But so that's something I want to do more, just to practice. Just to practice. I mean, so I was playing two quote-unquote characters having a conversation, and the first one I had my glasses on, and the second one I didn't. You know, two different characters. But the first one, I feel like I did get the sense. The way, yo.
You know, I'm about to go live in the kitchen market. So.
All right, go live, baby. The first one, actually, the way I would describe this uneasiness that kills the magic of cinema in some performers, is that it looks like even when they're not looking at the camera, it looks like they're looking at the camera. You can feel that they are looking at the camera. You know, the camera, I suppose maybe one way of describing a good actor is that to them, the camera is not there, right? And to you as the viewer, as a result, it feels like the camera is not there, right? They believe they're in it, they believe the scene, and so they make you believe the scene. And so my first performance with the glasses, I did feel that the person I was watching on screen performing was indirectly looking at the camera. The second one, less so. Another thing that was interesting is that it was not very well planned. And so I had one character who was talking a lot and the other one wasn't. And the character that was talking a lot was the one where I felt like there was this uneasiness. And the one that wasn't, there was less of that uneasiness. And I think it's something, there's an exercise, I don't remember what it's called, an acting exercise where you look at someone and you repeat I used to know better I think I learned it from in Blade Runner 2049, where he does the baseline test. Apparently, Ryan Gosling brought this idea up based on this acting exercise that I'm mentioning that I don't remember as well as I should. I think it's the Meissner technique, something like that. I actually wrote a scene as well based on that, a romantic scene. I think it's a very interesting. I like this idea. I'll use that scene one day. But so you look at your partner and you repeat what they say. And the exercise is about getting you. Why is there no music playing anymore? Hey. It's about getting you outside of your head, because instead of focusing on what you say, you focus on what the other person is saying. Hey. I know you can't, well, hopefully you can't hear it. What's happening? I am offline, that's true. You dope. You're offline. Well, I've been offline for a while now. Why is it? What was the music playing if I was offline, actually? Because the Bluetooth. Hey, stop playing. The Bluetooth shouldn't. I'm getting sidetracked here. But yes, acting. I mean, the things that make you a good actor are things that you can apply to your life. So it's about listening. That exercise is about listening. And then you'll say the word, repeat. And then you say it a different way, a different inflection, different intonation. And the person has to repeat that. So it's all about focusing on the person that's on your partner. It's all about that. It's being in sync, and it's about looking outwards, not focusing on inside. That way you're less self-conscious and you come off as less self-conscious. You're more in scene. And so the character that I was playing that was, in the end, listening mostly, I felt like that worked better. That performance was better. The one that was speaking more, not so much. There's also the fact that the one that was speaking did the first take. So I was not warmed up in a way, so to speak. Whereas the second take was the person listening. It also made me realize how fucking annoying it is if you're in a scene and you don't have any dialogue. Also, I was staring at nothing, in that scene, but it's quite annoying. So one way I could have made that better would have been to pay more attention to what is being said and get out of my head. But yeah, it's strange that the first performance, besides the fact that perhaps it's because I wasn't as prepared, But the first one is the one that felt like it didn't work as much. But I think I'll make more of these just for the practice of performing, filming, framing vertically, all these things. I'll make more of these. Where do I go now? So I have multiple ideas for these short films. This one, we were talking about the earth being flat. I should make one this evening, maybe take my time more, trying to make it better. I also made a poem, it's on my YouTube. Link in the description, no, there's no link, but it's on this channel, that I released today on tense. And that's all, once again, that's also a very good exercise. Reciting poems. I think I'm kind of limiting myself. So I love poems, something I've learned quite recently. But I guess if I'm learning a poem every 2 weeks and reciting it in this context here, I should do more. Obviously, I'm limited by my ability to learn poems, but I should do them even without learning them beforehand. I just enjoy reciting poems, and I would like to be good at it. Most importantly, I would like to be good at reciting poems. So I think I'll do more of these videos. Just reciting them, putting visuals with them, just for practice. But it's funny, this idea of learning things that you enjoy, in terms of things that you wouldn't have expected, for example, you wouldn't have expected to enjoy before you tried them, but also learning that, with this example, I made it this kind of exercise every week. Previously it was, I need to recite a new poem. So I need to learn it, it's a good exercise for my memory, I enjoy it, blah, 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 and then I recite it. But it didn't occur to me that I could just recite poems, without learning them, just because I enjoy it. In fact, I haven't been reading any poems outside of the one that I was learning every week. So it's like, I'm putting it in this box, and I'm not really allowing it to take over more of my life. So, something I need to correct. Where's my things right there? Yeah, I need to read more poems. Yesterday I hit the punching bag. That was good. Should have done it today too, but I didn't. Action is so powerful. It's crazy how when the wheels get into motion, when you start being active, you want to do more and you're happier. It's so simple. Yeah. Well, I haven't got anything else to talk about, do I? Tomorrow, work. A few of my colleagues are leaving. Some might have already left, I think. But are coming back at the end of the week for those 2 special days where I'm forced to work dinner. Yeah. Also last week I talked about having friends, or lack thereof. This idea of having friends. That's something I need to work on. Going out, interacting with people. Being less insular. Also, the song I was listening to, I don't know if the mic picked it up, but a friend asked me to work on his next video. Actually, we released, 10 days ago I believe, we released a video we made, my mother and I, for Karma Car, a rapper. It's got a bunch of views, that's nice. It's the first thing we released that we made together, my mother and I. So that was very gratifying. There's another video that I made with Mila, the artist that's talking about making another video that we'll be releasing. He plans on releasing it at the end of July, I think. So that'll be nice too. Making things. That's what it's about, making things. If I could clone myself, I would just, the other version would have only one task. Making sure that I'm making things all the fucking time that I can. Always making things. how do I say this? Recently, I've tried to think about myself differently in terms of, I've always believed that I'll make great things as an artist and in other areas, that I'll be great and I'll make great things. And I have all these ideas, film ideas that are, about ways to use film equipment, to ways to display films, all these ideas that I think are good. Now, naturally, 90% of those ideas won't work or will be bad when put in practice. But I do believe that I have a lot of ideas that could have a strong impact and that could be quite useful. And so all my life I have believed that I'll make great things, that I'm destined to greatness, so to speak. But here I am, nobody, nothing. And so I've asked myself, two things. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am not destined to make great things. Maybe I'm destined to be wasted potential, or maybe there isn't potential in the first place. Maybe I've been fooling myself. Which, no, I don't believe that. I've thought about it, and then I'm like, no way. That sounds like a foreign language to me. That's impossible. But what if? What if that is the case? So kind of building on from that thought, what if I just need to accept, that that's not true, that I'm just going to be a nobody for the rest of my life? How should I? This is very much a kind of thought experiment. It's not something that I'm actually thinking about going through with or that I believe. But I thought, let's build on to that idea. Then what if? What happens after that? Where do I go from there? Maybe I could, for example, ask my manager to get back some hours and start actually focusing on becoming a good waiter. Because I know that if I decided to kind of go full on in that area, in that career, actually focus on it and try to be good at it, I could. And I guess become a manager, and that would be my life. And obviously, that's impossible completely, because that just doesn't fulfill me. I would just go crazy. But nonetheless, I've tried to ask myself these questions. What if? What do I do? How do I live my life? If not with dreams and ambition of being an artist? Where do I go? What do I do? And really it just doesn't compute, doesn't make sense. I can't really imagine that. So what that means is that I have to go kind of full on to what I'm passionate about and actually try to get somewhere with it. I have to. I haven't worked out in a week. I feel so weak. And I feel like I have no energy. But tomorrow, life starts again. Tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow I start again. Wake up early. Tomorrow I wake up at 6:30. I work out. I take a cold shower. A glorious, ice cold shower. Then I do some writing. Then I go to work. I finish at 5. I go across the street to Sainsbury's, where I buy some salmon, some steaks of salmon, and I believe that's all I need. I need some milk. I buy some milk. Actually, I got tons of milk in the fridge. Some almond milk. I buy some milk. I go home. I work on the now 3 music videos that I need to work on. Then, well, actually, I go home, I do some bag work, punching bag. Then I don't take a shower. I should, but no, I don't. Then I work on music videos. Then I eat my 3,000 odd calories. Then I take a hot shower. Then I go to bed at 10:30. Preferably I do some reading instead of some scrolling on my phone. Then I go to sleep and I wake up the next day and I do the same thing. And then next week, in exactly a week, I'll be a new man. I'll be feeling good again. Stop wasting my money and my health on these little pieces of shit as well. Stop the bad habits, get back to the good habits. Learn the fucking poem. Read more poems, write some poems. Also, I have multiple ideas for the short films that I want to make. Where are they actually? At this distance, I can't read anything on my... Okay, no, that's not the one. Nope. 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 Where the fuck? What the fuck are these? Oh my god, how many pages? Is that the one? No. There's the one. So one of those ideas is, I've always wanted to rap. I think that's normal. As kids, a lot of kids listen to rap. You grow up with that. That's the music. Hip hop and reggae are the 2, and soul are the 3 main music genres I grew up with. I mentioned, wanting to be 50 Cent as a kid. I've always wanted to rap because rap is poetry, or it can be. Most of rap today is just garbage, but rap has an element of poetry to it. And so, since I was a kid, I've always written bars. Sounds weird, but I've always written, lyrics. And I've hardly ever performed them because it's intimidating, it feels ridiculous, and obviously you're going to suck at first. But the idea is making a short film about a guy who wants to be a rapper, right? So I'll perform a thing that I've written recently. It's about work, actually, about my work. Well, I wrote it a while ago. It's mostly about how I felt when I was working doubles. So working from 12, I wasn't doing doubles starting at 10 because I'm not suicidal. But I was working from 12 to closing, so sometimes 12, with a 1 hour break. And it just feels like, well, you have no time to do anything else during that day. Not much time. And not much energy either. So it's the clock ascends, an hour since, double shift, sundered, mind adrift. I ask myself, why pretend? Grin and fake, the clock ascends. Hands slowly waving. It's weird to just recite it. The clock ascends an hour since, double shift, sundered mind adrift. I ask myself, why pretend? Grin and fake, the clock ascends, hands slowly waving, transcend the flow of time again. Lime and gin, got a rhyme and bend, can't stop the show. Try and stare my carcass up the floor, wonder why I'm here. Rhyme and pen, sweet as sin, when I get home the sky's near. Careful I step, below the rats are crawling. The clock ascends, mighty with luster, might be just her, just me crazy, muster nightly the bluster. I might need to fluster her. Sounds funny. But yeah, it just like reciting poetry feels nice. Rapping to a beat feels nice when you're being on beat. Feels good. That's something I need to do more of because I enjoy it. And maybe, what the fuck? Who's this? What's this? Shut up. Yeah, and perhaps I'll get good at it one day. Who knows? Mission accomplished, I think. We'll finish it here. Thank you. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a good life. Yeah, and thank you. Appreciate you. So long. Oh, my back.